What's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here, back with another part of What If Naruto Was in a Political Marriage. This is the part 8 of this series, and before continuing this story, I would like to thank you guys for reaching 760 subscribers at the time of recording of this video, and I really appreciate your support and hope we can reach at 800 by the time this video goes live or after this video goes live. And I am currently working on What If Naruto The Regretful Family. You don't have to worry about that. It might be done today, and I might do the second upload of that video as well today. And if not, then I might upload it tomorrow after doing some tweaks and finalizing stuff, So yeah, before continuing this, I would like you guys to leave a like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. And without further ado, let's continue. Chapter 12, The Retrieval 2. Neji, how's their battle going on? Shikamaru asked. I can't discern whether or not Kurotsuchi and Hinata have the advantage, or if those two freaks have it. Everyone's still alive, although that religious freak chakra is strange. How so? It looks like the chakra isn't moving, signifying death, but he is most certainly moving. Troublesome. How far ahead are the bodyguards? A click ahead of us. I can also see other chakra signatures separate to them. Neji had a conflicted look on his face. Shikamaru noticed the look. Don't worry, I'm sure that Hinata and that Iwanin can take care of Religious Nut and the fat ass. This was said mostly for Neji's sake. Neji's face didn't change. She's a main branch member. I should probably have been there to protect her. We need you here. She'll be Shikamaru was cut off when he received a face fall of webbing. They all ran head first into a web-like structure, with a man who had 3 sets of arms on a branch ahead of them. Tenten was able to unseal a kunai from one of her scrolls and attempted to use it to saw off the webbing, but it held firm. Yuito as well tried to cut off the webbing with her extended claws, but she didn't have any more luck than Tenten. You're wasting your time. That webbing is infused with my chakra. You cannot break it with conventional methods, the spider-like man said. He proceeded to vomit up some shuriken made from the same stuff from the webbing. Looks like I got to play a fun game. Multi-shadow clone jutsu, Naruto shouted out. He had managed to bring his hands together in a cross seal, while Kidemaru's attention was away from him. Although the shadow clones that he created were all stuck in the same webbing as well as him. More little birdies, Kidemaru said with a grin. There were 6 Narutos in all. There's a 5 in 6 chance that you'll survive this throw, Kidemaru said with a grin. He threw the shuriken-like device at one of the clones. It popped. 4 in 5 chance. Pop. 3 in 4 chance. Pop. Kidemaru was stalling for time. 3 in 2 chance. Pop. 1 in 2 chance. Wow, you got the luck of the fox, don't you? Pop. Kidemaru chuckled and started playing with the shuriken a bit, tossing it up in the air and doing tricks with it. The kind of stuff that was used to unnerve a hapless victim. I suppose that you're that lucky one out of one. Kidemaru wound his arm back in preparation to throw the shuriken, but was stopped by a palm strike from Neji. Neji had figured out that since the webbing was infused with chakra, he could cut the threads using his gentle fist. While Spider-Man was occupied with Naruto, he secretly cut everyone loose from the trap and ran to stop him. Everybody, go on. I'll take care of this guy. A white bird flew into the general vicinity. Katsu! The bird blew up in a fiery explosion, making everyone scatter in different directions, and the webbing go up in flames. A man with long blonde hair done up in a ponytail landed on a branch next to Kidemaru. He was wearing the cloak of the Akatsuki and had a maniac expression on his face. How did you like my art? He asked. His eyes were scanning the team. What the fuck? You almost blew me up too, Kidamaru asked incredulously. Oh, you should be proud that you almost got the part of my artwork. Yeah. Are all of you Akatsuki freaks? Says the fuckwit with 6 arms. Kidamaru conceded. I'll help take them as well, Fu stated. She and Neji looked at each other and nodded. Naruto looked at Fu form. She was staring ahead at her enemy with a silent determination. She was brimming with confidence. Naruto had never seen her like that before. Shikamaru nodded. Okay everyone, let's go. They all ran ahead to cut off the remaining bodyguards. Fu and Neji's eyes didn't leave their opponents. Deidara grabbed something from his pocket and started mumbling. Fu and Neji prepared themselves. Art is a single moment of passion and fiery embarrassment. Art can never be contained by conventional means. Yeah, he pulled up his hands. There was a miniature owl, one of them. He threw it and put up a sign. It enlarged greatly and started flying to Neji's and Fu's location. Art is an explosion. Katsu! Fu and Neji jumped in opposite direction in order to avoid the blast. Kidamaru ran after Neji while Deidara started priming another jutsu for Fu. This time when he put up his hands there were 3 miniature balls in them. When he threw them, they all blasted apart into large amounts, even smaller spiders, and blanketed the area. Fu had a general idea of what would happen if she got close to one of the white pieces of clay. So she decided to try and trick the bomber eyesight by strafing quickly between and around the trees. There were explosions and devastated the area around her. But it seemed that her idea of quick strafing had worked. He put his hands in his pockets again, which Fu took as the reload time, and decided to attack him. Going through the hand seal necessary, she shouted, "Water cutting blade!" A blade of water appeared on her hand, growing to be about 3 feet in length. She rushed his location. He smirked and spat out, using his primary mouth, a globe of clay that transformed into a bird and flew at her. Fu's eyes widened, and she jumped to the ground floor from the branches, undoing the jutsu all the way. There was an explosion that seared her back and cut off the upper half of the tree she was just on. She quickly regained her composure and started scaling the trees again. Having the height advantage would make all of the difference in the battle. Upon heading on the trees that she was running up was a clay being in the shape of a small mammal. She immediately jumped to another tree in order to get as much distance from the bomb as she could, only to be pushed back to the ground floor by an explosion on the tree that she escaped to. Fu regained her composure and looked around her surroundings. All of the trees near her were booby-trapped. She wouldn't be able to get close enough to Deidara to be able to peacefully launch an attack on him. She immediately bolted and started looking for different trees that she climbed on. Spotting one, she started to run up to it, only for the entire tree to burn into a pasty white. Knowing that was not a good sign, she launched herself off of it before it exploded and created a corona of concussive force and flames that flattered and burned all of the trees around in a 50-feet radius. Fu was unfortunately caught up in the explosion and sailed through the air until she hit another tree and fell back to the ground. She was coughing, trying to get air back into her lungs, and soot blood out of them. This wasn't good. She had to get close to him to attack him, but he sabotaged all her attempts to do so. Fu couldn't see him, which might mean that he lost track of her, or it could mean that he just wasn't visible to her. She got up and ran to his last known location. After arriving there, she began climbing up on one of the booby-trapped trees. Anticipating that he would blow up the tree, she went through another set of hand seals, hiding in scale powder and ventilating out yellowish powder which quickly refracted the light to unbearable levels. She immediately jumped to another booby trap tree and started climbing that one. There was an explosion, but it happened on the tree that she used to be climbing up, not the one that she had jumped to. The tree that she jumped from went up in amount of flames that was disproportionate to the amount of explosives on it. Apparently, her scale powder was explosive as well. Go figure. Her thinking was that he still relied on sight that to figure out which explosive to detonate. So she used a jutsu obscuredly that obscured the ability to see and climbed up another tree that was within the lack of sight range, protecting herself from the bomb on the first tree and climbing up to the branch level on the second tree. She didn't, however, anticipated that her jutsu was explosive as well. Luckily enough, she cleared its blast range before it could cook her back. She couldn't see hide or nor hair of Deidara and was starting to get slightly worried. It was clear that his specialty was long-range combat and that the one thing that she could do was close combat, creating a tricky situation. Either he would blow her up from afar or she would get close enough to him that she could be able to take a shot at him. But in order to do so, she first had to find out where he was. An explosion rocked the world around her. She quickly lashed onto another branch before she got blown down to the ground floor. Fu didn't think that she could pull off the side inhabiting trick again. She pulled herself up on the tree and fled the scene so he could see her, but she couldn't see him. That wasn't good for her. She tried extending the little chakra sensory ability that she had as far as she could, but came up flat. Fu heard a whizzing to her side, right, and immediately jumped to her left. Another explosion blossomed just to her right and seared her entire side. At this point, she was panting, tired, burned in several areas, and still having trouble breathing, while her enemy hadn't even been touched. All of the bombs that he had been throwing at her from after she lost sight of him had all come close to her, but still either blasted prematurely or far enough away from her that she was able to dodge the explosion, signifying that although he could see her, his vision was hampered. Fu didn't know whether the stemmed from the after effects of her jutsu, which she doubted, or if the trees were giving her natural cover. She leaned against a tree to catch her breath and leaned her back to get a look at the sky. Why is there a flying Why is there a gull flying up there? I'm not even close to the ocean. Realization dawned on her. This wasn't a gull, it was just a really big bird made out of clay, which the mad bomber was probably riding on. It would explain why she couldn't find him, as well as why his bombs were less accurate. This was the worst possible battle scenario for her, being bombed from the sky without any means to reach, much less combat the enemy. Wait, maybe she could reach the mad bomber. Hey Chomei. When she talked to Chomei for the first time, she was astounded by its affability. Apparently, the seal used for keeping Chomei in check was called the glass jar seal. Its main purpose is to keep the seven tails in check. However, it has another side effect. It allows Chomei to see out of the seal and experience what its container is feeling. This allowed the seven tails to empathize with its container's feeling of loneliness, depression, and anger. So when they first met, the seven tails only wanted to create a good relationship with Fu, and thus it told Fu of the abilities to communicate telepathically and no need to enter and exit the mindscape. Yes, little larvae, we're in a bit of trouble. Your chakra cloak manifests wings, right? Once you reach the two-tail state, yes, but you never experienced what my chakra feels like. You'd get taken over by the ray anger. I thought that you didn't hate. Oh, little larvae, I don't hate you. We're both in this bad situation together. But I do hate. We all hate. If you take my chakra, You take my will, which contains my hate. Well, we don't have any other options. I need to beat that man to survive. In order to beat that man, I need your chakra. So if I want to survive, I need your chakra. Don't say that. I didn't warn you. Despite the confident demeanor that she put up with Chomei, she was extremely afraid of that chakra. Wait, do you have any, tips? Just remember why you fight, who you fight for, little larvae. An image of Naruto appeared before her eyes. I fight to protect the dreams of my friend. She heard Chomei wing buzz in approval. So you say, little larvae. Fool felt a wrenching in her gut, and she suddenly didn't feel any of the aches of her battle. All of the pain from the burns faded away. She could breathe again, and she felt energetic. Fu felt good. The chakra that was warming her being started bubbling out of her skin. She could see it manifesting on her body, turning slightly sharper. She tried to flex her back muscles and discovered the feeling of finding a new set of appendages. Once they had controlled the new found wings on her back. Fu felt anger, rage against the indigenities, rage against all the indigenities that she had to suffer due to her status as a Jinchuriki, rage against the people who looked at her like her very presence was anathema to them, rage against the world for creating her the way she was, but most importantly rage against the fuckwit of a bomber who tried to hurt her best friend, her only friend, her Naruto. Deidara was having dickens of a time trying to make art beautiful enough to show the world, mostly because his canvas was running around the trees and he found it difficult to accurately paint from such a high viewpoint. I know I should have brought my mini scope. Yeah. He continued to scan the treetops of any sign of the seven-tailed Jinchuriki. From the reports that he got from the lower Akatsuki agents, she didn't have any experience in controlling her tailed beast, so he was fighting a close-range fighter with no means of flying from the sky. Needless to say, he felt rather invincible, that is, until he saw a red speck on the treetops begin to grow too large and large. Deidara might have been batshit crazy, but he wasn't stupid enough to not know what a Jinchuriki tailed form looks like. Shit, she isn't supposed to know how to fly yet. Yeah, her flight speed was alarmingly fast, so Deidara tried to outmaneuver her. This didn't work, mostly because of the fact that his bird was made out of dexterous as a paralyzed sloth when compared to Fu-tailed beast. She landed on top of the bird, roared in Deidara's face and shoved her arm up to the elbow of his torso. He only smiled and turned into a pasty representation of the mad bomber. She jumped off the bird, however, the clone was stuck fast to her arm. She tried to swat it away, but only managed to cleave off the lower body of the clone. The rest of it exploded. She was blasted across the sky trying to regain her composure. It was rather difficult for her, as this was the first time that she had ever flew. Before that, she didn't even know how to fly or contact Chomei. She hit the treetops, which softened her descent, shook her head and looked back up to the sky. Deidara was now riding on top of a huge dragon-like being made out of clay. She roared at the beast and jumped off from the treetop to start zipping straight towards it. The dragon roared and puked up a glob of the explosive clay. The glob was heading straight towards her, which she just managed to avoid, but she didn't avoid the explosion that resulted in her being tossed across the sky yet again. She was able to regain her balance in the air this time and flew back at the dragon yet again. It threw up another glob of clay, but she gave it a far wider berth this time, able to dodge the explosion. The dragon continued to vomit up more and more globs of clay, which she had to keep on giving wide berths. So she made very little progress in shortening the distance between the two. I need to be faster. Her mind came up with a big solution to her plight. Be careful, little larvae. Remember why you fight. The memory of her up on the Hokage monument beside Naruto came up to her mind. The memories of the first time that she had fun with another person, the memories of her first friend, the memories of Naruto. She continued to grab more and more of Chomei's chakra until she had another set of wings on her back. Luckily enough, she was able to remain of sound enough mind to remember her goal, fucking up a clinically insane person day. With her newfound speed, she zipped around through above, below, and towards the Mad Bomber on the Mad Dragon. Now he tossed a clay structure at her. It turned into a giant spider which wrapped around her torso and blew up. Through the smoke emerged an enraged Fu. She tackled him off the dragon onto the forest floor below. While plummeting to the earth at breakneck speed, he somehow found the strength to smirk. His entire body started to expand to obscene levels. At the zenith of his expansion, he muttered, "Katsu." The explosion was far greater than any other he had shown before, and Fu was still hugging it when it went off. Down on the forest floor, there was a limping and thoroughly defeated Deidara. Fuck, where was that spider fuck toy? He was supposed to help me capture this Jinchuriki. Yeah. He was limping towards the nearest HQ, which was extremely far away. He didn't have any detonating clay left, so he didn't think that he would be able to safely acquire the Jinchuriki. Fuck, Leader Summer's gonna be pissed. Fu opened her eyes up. She felt breezy, queasy, and not very healthy. She slowly got from the prone position that she had taken when she had fallen from the sky and started to limp in no particular direction. She found the spider freak advanced to a stage level 2 curse seal and dead. She was of such an unsound mind that she didn't even register the sight of a dead bodyguard as strange. Why does my right side feel like it went through another blender? Fu looked at her right arm. All of her skin was completely burned off. The burn went all the way down to her right knee, extended across her chest, and even felt it on her face. She caught sight of Neji. He was collapsed on the ground, with multiple holes in and around his torso. The strength of her knees left her, and she fell onto the ground. Fu didn't feel anything from the impact. She felt numb. She felt tired. She felt like she didn't even really care anymore. As her face was pressed into the grass, she smiled at a pleasant scent of the greenery. I think I'm just gonna take a nap. So that's what she did. As this is where I'm gonna leave this off, guys. I hope you like this video, and if you do, leave a like and comment down below and subscribe to my channel. We're almost at 800. So yeah, I am quite working on the What If Naruto The Regretful Family. You might get that part today, and if not today, it might be uploaded tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. So yeah, this is Apollo Chiha, and I am signing out. Peace.